That's an exercise that I've been playing with one of my students recently, and it's actually an exercise I use across many genres when it comes to improvisation. And the whole idea is that yes, we are focusing on improvisation. The particular backing track you just heard is, if you don't recognize it, is Minor Swing from Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli. If you've never listened to Django Reinhardt and Stefan play, or just Django play or Stefan, I highly recommend you go look them up. It's some really beautiful music. They really had their own thing going on in the world of jazz, and both masterful musicians and just very tasteful as well. I mean, there's no doubt that there's like a lot of um, shredding, for lack of better words, in their playing, but man, there's some just really tasteful playing at the same time. It's really beautiful music. I digress. Forgive me. Regardless, the idea here is that we are working on an improvisation exercise. So what I was doing just then is I was playing one particular phrase to kind of start my improvisational idea. And this actually comes from Stefan's solo from the original Minor Swing recording, which I believe is from 1934. I can't remember, maybe 1936. So the original solo, do this as best I can. I can't fully remember how it goes, but here's my best shot. There it is. So that's the phrase that I was playing with right there. Right. Ba-ba-doo-da-da-da-da. I'm using that phrase as something to leap off from. What I find a lot when I'm teaching people how to improvise, when I'm kind of helping them find that voice and giving them guidance into that direction, is that they get stuck. They feel like, oh, I don't have any good ideas, or what am I supposed to do? Like, there's all these, and we have all these scales and arpeggios. There's a lot of options to pick from, and so there can be this moment of like, oh, how do I go about this? And often I find that freezing action is actually the whole problem, right? Like, yes, do we have scales and arpeggios, and should we be aware of the chord changes and the melody and all the thousands of things we could do at a given moment when we're improvising? Of course. But I think before we do anything, you have to just get used to just making up music. You don't have to judge it, good, bad, right, wrong. It's just, can you play a little something and then do something spontaneously afterwards? And while we can also just improvise, just kind of sit there and go, okay, you have 4 notes, and you can just improvise. I find that beginning improvisers can kind of get stuck playing a lot of the same stuff, and fair enough. That's not unusual. That's not weird. You're new to it. It just takes a lot of time and energy and listening and coming back into it, and lessons and jams and all of it, right? So it's just a time process. But there are things we can do to just help us kind of spring things forward. And I love this exercise where we take a phrase from a master because it gives us some of their language, which is like why transcribing is, learning solos, learning things by ear, learning phrases is so valuable. It's not that so we can go to the jam and necessarily repeat the phrase verbatim, but so that we have strong language to kind of play with, and then we have like a strong thing to leap off of, right? We have a really cool foundation that we can build something off of that feels maybe outside of what we might normally play. And I think that's the key here. So in this moment, I play this phrase. There it is. I defined it again. So. Right? And again, if you're like really new to improvising and you don't even have, whatever instrument you're playing, if you don't even have access to like a 2-octave scale, maybe you're just up in 1 octave, depending on what you want to do there, you can just stick there and that's totally fine. So I'm just trying to come up with something different, and it's not about, did I hit the chord change properly? Did I do this? It's more just taking a leap of faith and being willing to just play and not let your brain go into overthinking mode. Because the reality is that when you're improvising, you don't have a lot of time to think, or at least not in the traditional way. It's not that I know for myself when I'm improvising that I'm not mindful of the chords. I can hear the changes, I can kind of see them in my mind's eye, as it were, but it's not this like this hard thinking where you're like, oh, okay, what's next, you know? And because by the time you've done that, the song's already gone. So training yourself to just move, that's the big deal here. Train yourself to just move, for better or worse. And I promise, even if it's on the worst side, it will get better. You just have to keep trying it. You know, if you're willing to be bad at it, then you have a chance of getting really good at it. So let me just kind of noodle with this a little bit more. I'll talk about some different ideas as I'm playing. I do that a lot. So let me just not do that. So I'm just creating parameters for myself right now. Whoops. Right? That was fun. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. Maybe I'll keep that basic concept. Ba-da-da-da, but I'll try to go higher afterwards. Right? Now, again, good, bad, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is that I'm playing a really strong piece of music and then I'm leaping off of that. And I'm just trying to just explore. What are the possibilities here? Maybe I'll just have to stick on the A string this time. So I'll play the phrase and I'll only play on my A string, you know. I didn't say I couldn't play all the notes on the A string. I just said I would stick to my A string. Space. Always a valuable tool in our improvisation. Space is a big one. Don't forget to use space. Anyways, I hope this is helpful to you if you're trying to, you know, explore some improvisation and open up some ideas in your mind. And, you know, I think more than anything, just let go of some judgment. If you're feeling like you are playing poorly or you're just not sounding good or anything, just make some music. Get into some action, make some music, and that'll teach you so much more than overthinking or grabbing too many scale patterns or anything right now. Right now, you just need to play. And you can get information from that, and then the feedback can start to happen in a real way, in an authentic way. All right. Thank you so much.